granddaddy of survival horror is back on March 20th when Alone in the Dark releases on Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and PC. This Southern Gothic reimagining of the original game puts you in a spooky, puzzle-filled manor full of secrets that you'll have to uncover before you make it out. But developer THQ Nordic has been a little stringent on how much they've shown us of the game up until this point. Never fear, however, at least not yet anyway, because I'm here to tell you 7 things you need to know about the new Alone in the Dark. Number 1. 2 playable characters. Remember in the first couple of Resident Evil games how you could choose between a male and a female perspective with slightly different changes to the game? Well, Capcom took that from the original 1992 Alone in the Dark, and it's back. You get to choose between private investigator Edward Carnby, played by Stranger Things' David Harbour. Man, that guy has no luck when it comes to otherworldly horrors. Or Emily Hartwood, portrayed by Killing Eve's Jodie Comer, whose uncle has gone missing. She's enlisted the help of Carnby to investigate the manor turned mental asylum turned, I think, just manor again, and they uncover more than either of them bargained for. Each character has completely unique cutscenes and levels through their story, giving players a big reason to play more than once.
You would think a man compare. No, not if I can help it.
Number 2, familiar writing talent. To the young'uns out there, you may not remember Amnesia: The Dark Descent, a game that borderline invented the screamy Let's Play. But you might remember its cooler and somewhat overlooked younger brother, Soma, a game that, for my money, has one of the best told narratives in the entire medium of gaming. Well, the writer of those games is back and helming Alone in the Dark, with a new tale that's been called a deep, psychological story that goes beyond the realms of the imaginable. This guy has some real proven horror chops, which is good because here's a segue to the next point. Number 3. Horror over terror. The executive producer of the game has said that recent horror games have gone more for terror than real horror, whatever that means. Been reading too much Stephen King, if you ask me. And this game will take us back to how it was in 1992, with the team taking close reference from the dense atmosphere of the original and bringing it up to scratch over 30 years after it originally released. The Lovecraft-inspired Louisiana setting of the game could lend itself well to this. Swampy settings have long been ripe for a unique brand of mysterious, man should never have come here horror in literature and film. But in gaming, it's still a decidedly somewhat underutilized setting. What, you got Resident Evil 7, Hunt Showdown, and that's kind of it? Fallout 3 Point Lookout and Fallout 4 Far Harbor, maybe? Red Dead Redemption 2? Not really horror, but damn those crocodiles, huh? There was Sherlock Holmes Awakened from last year, but that was a remake of a game that was likely inspired by the original Alone in the Dark, so phooey to that, and phooey to something I found out recently. Statistically, if you're watching this, you have yet to subscribe to FGS. If you're liking what you're seeing and hearing, please be sure to subscribe for coverage on all of the latest releases, as well as enjoying my ranting and raving about the greatest horror games you can peep with your eye holes. Number 4. A world of horror. So far I've talked a lot about the terrors you'll find inside the mansion, but you'll actually be exploring deep into the depths of the bayou, into dark cemeteries, and who knows where else. According to previews with the game, you'll even be opening portals to new worlds, and I feel like the last 5 years of superhero movies has conditioned us to think this will be cool and awesome, when actually almost always portals to other worlds means indiscernible horrors that don't even make sense on this plane of existence knocking on your door. Take it from me, I've seen plenty of portals in my time. This could point to why these strange creatures and occurrences are happening at the manor, and where our main character's quarry has vanished to, as well as writing a big question mark over where we're going to go in the game. It's not just a big scary house anymore. Number 5. Meet the monster guy. But what will be coming out of these freaky portals, you ask? Well, the deluge of delightfully disgusting demons we will be graced with is thanks to a big name, Guy Davis. Davis has made some amazing monsters for games and movies like Antlers, Gears of War, and Steven Universe, as well as a recurring collaborator with Guillermo del Toro on projects like The Shape of Water, Pacific Rim, and basically all the creatures in Cabinet of Curiosities. Now that skill is being brought to Alone in the Dark, and looks to result in some really freaky beasts, which should make a change from the original game's roster of low-poly enemies that included Shorty Leg, T-Bone, and Zombie Chicken. Some of these enemies could be making a return with an all-new design, but I think we're all secretly hoping to see Zombie Chicken make an appearance somewhere in the game. No matter what enemies there are, though, you'll be well acquainted, as you'll be blasting and bashing them with any weapons you can get your hands on. It looks to be a much more action-oriented affair this time, another cue from Resident Evil, but a welcome change from the 1992 game. Number 6, we know the campaign length. The original Alone in the Dark took a measly 3 hours to get through, but we do now know that the length of this new entry will be between 6 to 10 hours. Now, this probably doesn't sound like long, but let's compare that to the Resident Evil 2 remake, which was also about 8 hours long. What do both of these games have in common? 2 campaigns running side by side that you can beat one at a time. So when you hit 8 hours, it's really more likely to be about 15 in total. The question now is, do both campaigns have enough unique content to make it worth doing twice? Number 7, demo out now. Finally, if you're hearing all this and you're just itching to see what the game is like, well, there's a demo available right now. Why is it that basically the only AAA games that get demos now are horror games? And Final Fantasy VII, I guess. Well, I act like I don't know it's because of PT, but that's beside the point. The Alone in the Dark prologue is available on PlayStation 5 and Steam right now and has you playing a young girl who just has to deliver a letter. This game gives us our first combat-free look at the mansion in its prime, and a taste of the early 1900s atmosphere we'll see more of when the full game releases. And knowing all of this, you're probably just as excited for the remake/reboot/somewhere in between. Once again, it's releasing on the 20th of March, so it's not long to wait until we can see if all of this comes together, as it rightly should, into something special. And you can follow it all the way up to release here on the FGS channel, home of the Future Game Show. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and hit the bell to be notified when new updates are ready for you.
There we go.